Two people start with the exact same amount of money,
Same job,
same salary.
same starting point.
10 years later, one of them is rich, the other is still barely getting by.
How is that even possible?
The answer isn't just luck.
It's a hidden mechanism most people never learn about.
It's called compound growth, and once it starts, it barely takes any effort to keep going. Imagine planting $1 like a seed. Instead of spending it, you let it grow, and it slowly turns into a tree full of coins. That's the core secret behind almost every fortune in history.
Meanwhile, most people are stuck just trying to pay next month's bills, stuck in what's often called the paycheck to paycheck cycle.
So today, we're breaking down exactly why the rich keep getting richer. The real mechanics behind wealth, not the myths, not the conspiracy theories, and more importantly, what separates the two paths. By the end of this video, you'll understand the rules of money that schools never taught you.
Let's start from the very beginning.
Let's talk about compound interest, often called the eighth wonder of the world. Here's how it works. Your money doesn't just grow.
It grows on top of its own growth. Year 1, it's barely noticeable.
Year 20, it's an entirely different story. Someone who starts investing at 20 can end up with far more than someone who starts at 40, even investing less money overall.
Because in investing, time matters more than the amount you put in.
This is exactly why wealthy families have such a massive head start. Their money has often been compounding for generations before they're even born.
Meanwhile, someone starting from zero has to build that same momentum from scratch. It's like joining a snowball fight, except theirs has been rolling downhill for 50 years.
And yours is just a tiny ball you're still trying to push uphill. But here's the twist: the rich don't just save money, they make their money work for them.
While they sleep, their investments are quietly earning more money in the background. Most people only earn money by actively working trading hours of their life for income. The wealthy build multiple streams of income that keep flowing in, even while they do absolutely nothing.
This brings us to one of the biggest secrets in personal finance: the difference between assets and liabilities.
An asset puts money into your pocket.
A liability takes money out of your pocket, even if it looks impressive.
Here's the surprising part: even the house you live in can actually be a liability, not an asset.
The wealthy instead buy properties that generate rental income, real assets that pay them. They also own stocks, small pieces of companies that grow in value over time. When you own stock, you literally own a small slice of a real business. So when that business makes profit, some of it flows straight back to you as a shareholder.
Over the last century, the stock market has grown far faster than the interest on any regular savings account.
But most people never even start investing because it feels intimidating or risky.
And honestly, the financial world is often designed to feel confusing on purpose. Complex language, confusing paperwork, it keeps regular people hesitant, while insiders keep playing the game. But the truth is, the basics of investing are actually much simpler than they seem. And once you understand the rules, anyone can start playing.
Now, let's talk about something most people don't fully understand: taxes.
If you earn a regular salary, taxes are taken directly out before you even see the money.
But income from investments and business ownership is often taxed at a much lower rate. The wealthy also hire experts who know every legal way to reduce what they owe.
Here's something surprising: the rich often use debt as a tool, not something to fear.
They borrow money at low interest to invest in things that grow faster than the loan itself costs them.
Meanwhile, most people use debt just to buy things that lose value, like credit cards for everyday spending. It's also just harder for average people to access good loans in the first place.
But if you already have money and assets, banks are eager to lend you even more. There's also a whole world of investments that simply aren't available to regular people. Private equity deals, hedge funds, early startup investments, often reserved only for those who already have significant wealth. It's a bit like a club where you need money just to get through the door.
And once you're in that club, even more doors start opening for you.
Which brings us to one of the most underrated forces behind wealth: connections. It's often said that your network determines your net worth, and there's real truth to that. Wealthy people are surrounded by other wealthy people, sharing deals, tips, and opportunities most of us never even hear about. If you don't have access to that circle, you simply never learn the information in the first place. Many wealthy kids grow up hearing about investing and business at the dinner table from a very young age.
Most schools never teach personal finance at all, so many people enter adulthood with zero financial education.
This creates fear, and fear makes people avoid the very things that could grow their money. Wealthy people are often taught early to see calculated risk as normal, even necessary for growth.
They're also taught that failure is just part of the process, not something to be ashamed of. Meanwhile, many people are taught that any financial mistake is dangerous, which keeps them stuck playing it safe forever. And ironically, playing it too safe can actually be one of the riskiest financial decisions of all. Because if your money just sits still, inflation quietly eats away at its value every single year. The same $100 buys less and less as time goes on. So doing nothing with your money is actually a decision, and often the wrong one. So what can you actually do about all of this? The good news is, you don't need to be rich to start playing this game. The first step is simple: pay yourself first, before spending on anything else. Even a small percentage of every paycheck set aside for investing can grow into something huge over time. Today, you don't need a broker in a suit apps. Let anyone start investing with just a few dollars.
A simple index fund lets you own a tiny slice of hundreds of companies at once, instead of betting on just one.
It's not exciting. It won't make you rich overnight. But over decades, it quietly builds real wealth. The second step is education, learning the basics that schools never taught you. You don't need a finance degree, just a genuine willingness to learn a little bit every day. The third step is controlling spending, not eliminating joy, just avoiding money that quietly leaks away. Small leaks, like unused subscriptions, can quietly drain thousands of dollars over the years. The fourth step is building additional income, a side hustle, a skill, anything that creates a second stream of money.
None of this requires being a genius.
It just requires consistency and starting before you feel ready. Remember, every wealthy person you admire also started with their very first dollar. The only real difference is what they chose to do with it.
Now, to be fair, not all of this comes down to personal choices alone.
For many people, systemic barriers make it genuinely harder to climb: unequal access to education, healthcare, and opportunity. When you're working multiple jobs just to survive, finding time and energy to learn about investing is a real luxury. Where you're born, your family, your access to good schools, all of it shapes your starting line.
Tax codes, lending rules, and financial policies are often written by and for people who are already wealthy.
This is why wealth inequality remains one of the most debated issues in modern economics.
Some argue the answer is purely personal responsibility.
Others argue we need real structural change.
The honest truth is probably somewhere in between. Both individual habits and systemic fairness matter.
But focusing only on the system can leave you feeling powerless.
And focusing only on yourself ignores real barriers other people face. The most useful approach is doing what you personally can while also supporting changes that make the system fairer for everyone.
Because waiting for the system to change perfectly before you start can cost you decades. So while the system isn't perfect, your own first step still matters enormously. So let's bring it all together. The rich get richer because of compound growth, owning real assets, and using debt and time as tools. It's also about access to networks, education, and systems that often favor those who already have money. But none of that erases the power of starting, even small, even imperfect, even today. Every massive fortune you've ever heard of began with someone's very first dollar and their very first decision. Understanding these rules doesn't guarantee you'll become a millionaire. But it does mean you're no longer playing a game you don't understand. So here's a question for you. What's the very first step you're going to take toward growing your own money? Let us know in the comments.
And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video breaking down how money really works.
Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. See you in the next video.